Hello, everyone, and welcome to New Trials, the podcast. I'm Preya.
And I'm Melanie.
And to celebrate finishing chapter 29, and before we get into chapter 30th, Melanie and I thought it would be fun to have an extra special Alliance of the Stars episode dedicated to the one and only Diana.
Yay!
So in our previous podcast, we got up to her comments for chapter 3. So today we'll be discussing all of her comments that she left from chapters 4 to chapters 10. Melanie will take care of the audiobook. I'll take care of the podcast. So time to jump into it.
Heck yes. And when someone leaves us these amazing comments, they get their own special video because we appreciate this so much. And as Priya said in one of her comments, both of our love languages is words of affirmation. So her and I are both like glowing with happiness.
Okay, let's do that.
All right. So starting off with the audiobook on the chapter 4, part A. So Diana said, "Yay, the camping trip. We get some cute Sakura and shout-on moments. Perhaps this is truly the beginning of new trials, LOL. I like that it starts with a riddle. I'm loving your Yamazaki-kun. As a kid, he both annoyed me and made me laugh, more on the latter than the former. I found his constant lying to be annoying because you know how you always have that classmate that always exaggerates and had crazy stories that no one believes, save like 2 people, and desperate for everyone's attention? Yep, that's him. But his stories are fun. I enjoy him more the older I get. He's definitely someone I'd walk up to and listen to whatever he has to say just for a good laugh. I also like your take on Nako. I'm glad she's getting more time in Arc 4. It might just be me, but as a teen, I found the Truth or Dare game in New Trials to be so intense and deep. Made me wonder if things really could be like that for me. I then felt it was a little too dramatic and I wouldn't want to partake in it unless I was a bystander. But as an adult, I'm living for it. I'm so used to the high stakes drama in later chapters that I forgot how dramatic some of these earlier chapters could be, especially the dialogue. I also forgot that this is the first time Shout-on trained Sakura. I also forgot that Erika got hurt. With how overprotective Eron can be, I'm surprised he let Shout-on take care of her. Honestly, the amount of sister complexes and brother complexes in this series. Thanks for sharing. Take care.
I love her character study on Takashi because this reminds me back in the fanfic days where I used to scour the internet for Takashi and Chiharu fan fiction. So like her little character study of him, it's like, wow, she did better than like all those fanfics that I've ever read. She got them.
Well, her comment about Eron too, I never really thought of that, but it's true. I am surprised he let Shout-on even sort of take care of her. And then we also have a comment on chapter 4, part B. Yay, part 2. The iconic and much loved sunrise scene. I live. Probably my favorite scene in Arc 1. It is such an important part for New Trials, Sakura, and Shout-on. I wouldn't put it past Wish-chan if she references this in the finale. It wouldn't be a Sakura and Shout-on scene without their sunrises, would it? LOL. The amount of Sakura and Shout-on content in this chapter definitely made my SNS shipper heart burst from happiness. Another highlight for me was the bits of information we got about the twins' past. I was so giddy because of everything we know in later chapters. By the way, did you notice the foreshadow to Tomeo's movie? New York, here we go. Thank you for sharing. I hope you have a lovely day.
I don't know if we talked about the foreshadowing of Tomoyo's movie when we were talking about the podcast. It's lots of fun when fans can find things that we don't.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And yeah, I agree. I think this cliff and sunrise thing will come back in the finale. I agree with that 100%.
Oh yeah, it's like such a motif in New Trials that like how can it not?
Yeah.
I wonder if New Trials would end with a sunset.
Oh, that would be poetic. I could see that.
With all the talk of sunrises, it's like the end of an era.
Oh God, that's gonna make me cry. Oh, because it really will be like an end of an era. Like,
Yeah,
oh my
then we have
gosh.
the Kaiti magician origins and the legacy of the Great Five and Chloe's story and the as well. Yes, so
Hmm.
Wish Chen, she's got lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff. Okay, on to her review for the podcast, and she combined part A and part B in one comment. She writes, another great podcast. There's so much to unpack in this Arc 1 chapter. I've seen the sunrise a million times, but never have I purposely woken up to look at it. I have added something to my bucket list. I was nodding and laughing so much when you mentioned the whole eye description thing. It is such a staple from back in the day. I'm not sure if newer fic writers do this as a rite of passage, or if this was such an era thing. I wasn't guilty of the whole emerald, amber, sapphire, and amethyst slash violet eye thing. I was definitely guilty of using their hairs as a scripture. Anyone else remember the whole amethyst hair girl or chestnut haired boy? So, Fannin. Yes, to break away from Diana's comments, I do remember chestnut hair boy.
For sure. I was guilty of that.
She writes, Melanie, your Twilight reference was so unexpected, but so appreciated. Teenage me loved, loved, loved that scene.
I love it.
Jealous Sakura makes her debut. In New Trials, she is only ever jealous of Erika because in Arc 4, she isn't affected by jealousy, unlike Aaron and Sharon. And also, I also noticed how she was checking Aaron out. Funny how the tables turn more the series progresses. The cliff. It's the same cliff in Arc 4 when he saves her, and the same cliff in which Risa dies. But to comment on the manga reference, I haven't read the manga in a while, but I believe that Wish Chen is referencing the moment right before Yue's judgment. Sakura needs to seal the earthy due to the earthquake, hence her falling into the ground. This is changed in the anime for the infamous elevator scene. Yeah, I haven't read the manga in a hot minute, but I totally know what she's talking about. Poem analysis. Around the ashes, the legacy of the twins stand, ready with 100 more biting lashes. Yet, if love walks hand in hand and never lets go during the perilous fight, it may overcome the impossible with its might. After listening to you, I don't know why it never occurred to me in my rereads that this could have been foreshadow of the whip, as well as foreshadow to all the dark forces that will try to break SNS apart. Each force is more biting than the other, but SNS can overcome this by staying true to themselves and to each other. They will be the one Lee and Amamiya pairing that makes it through the end, not becoming a tragedy. Although, ever since 2014, when Chapter 70 was released, I'm a believer that the real tragedy is the relationship between the OG Chang and Mizuki. Yes, 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 yes. I remember there was so much fandom chatter about the Mayura. Yeah. Ryuichi. Yeah. To the point where it's like, oh my gosh, I think there was like a secret love child.
Yes, and it never occurred to me that's how like their ancestor, when it came about until like, yeah, we all started talking about it back in the day. But yeah, I 100% agree.
Now, from my observations and theories, the twins passed. In part A, Aaron mentions that the Chang family used to go on missions similar to the Lee clan. I might be reading too much into it, but I wonder what he means by that. Does he mean that this was something before Ryuichi's time? Was it something the Chang descendants have to do to obtain their powers? Is it the part about is it the part about traveling the work? Is it making the pact with their ancestors and becoming vessels of revenge? I don't think it's ever mentioned again, but that clearly caught my attention. And that's why, Diana, you are our honorary third host.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I never thought about that. I didn't catch that.
I
Yeah.
don't think I realized that either because it's like I'm trying to think back and I think I already forgot about it. And it's like, just reading over it, get to the next sentence, but you really thought stop to think about that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was Aaron possessed by Ricci or was it himself saying stuff? I want to say it was a mixture of both. We don't know how much access Aaron has to things related to the past, but I'm assuming all he knows comes from the stuff in his house and the stuff the Dark Ones allow him to know, maybe even a few dream/visions. We do know that the OG twins have been controlling the Chang family for a century and a couple of decades. This means that they have seen everything, at least family-wise. Not sure if they've contact with the Lees and Amamias since close time until Nadeshiko's generation. When Aaron says that this is his first time in this form and lifetime, I took this to mean as Chang Aaron with powers. Getting their powers was life altering. They became different people, even at their core. They are the same kids from before becoming the Dark Ones. Because I remember when us questioning, it's like, was Aaron possessed by Ricci or is himself? And I really like Diana's answer here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Regarding the amulet, Aaron does try to get rid of it, but he gets burnt and it gets tighter around his neck. I don't remember when this happens, but I remember Erica was with him. Erica tells him that he should know better than to take it off because they've tried before. What is interesting to me is this eye amulet is mentioned in the Legacy of Five Forces before Ryuichi is introduced. In fact, he and Riza haven't appeared in the special yet. I'm not sure if he did make a cameo and none of us realized it, or the eye amulet is an association symbol of the presumably ninja group Ryuichi was part of back in the day. He was a trained ninja. The people after Mayura and the Mirror of Truth have that symbol. I'll leave that for another day. Oh, Diana, your knowledge of the legacy and the Great Five, it just blows our minds.
Wow. That's all I can say. Wow, girl.
Like I know when she draws fan arts of Ryuichi, she kind of gives him like a bit of a ninja kind of look, and I always wondered that, and now I know, and I guess all of us could have known, but she sort of retained that.
Holy moly. Well, I will say, girl, like, if or when we ever do a Great Five special podcast, I really think we should try to make the time zones work and have all three of us
There's no other way. There's no other way. And she closes off. Thank you for sharing. I hope you have a lovely day.
The best. And so then the next comment is from the audiobook chapter 5. And she said, I absolutely love the sound effects. You're doing such an amazing job, Melanie. I very much enjoyed your take of Toya versus Shout-On. If those two only knew the long road ahead of them, LOL. Good thing Yukito is there on Shout-On's side. I liked SNS's baking moment because we all know that these moments only get sweeter as the series progresses. I still hope that they open a restaurant and or bakery. I'm so excited for the next chapter because we get a flashback. I'm really happy Sakura gets to learn more about her mother and have the connection that we know she misses. Same goes for Shout-On. Thanks for sharing.
Yay. I like the comments about getting sweeter.
Yes.
Moving on to the podcast for chapter 5. She starts off with, I'm sad because this is the comment's second version. I had typed out my feedback while I listened to the podcast. It disappeared on me for no reason. This is a watered down version, aka what I remember. And girl, did they're done that. I remember the first time I took down all my notes for the chapter with the madman and the ghost girl. And I was just at the end of writing my last sentence, and I didn't realize my laptop wasn't plugged in, and I lost everything. And my boyfriend went in total Kai mode to try to get it, but it was impossible. And then the second time it happened was when I was at Melanie's, and I had all my notes, and I accidentally deleted, and I couldn't recover it. So I had to listen to it a second time. I think it was the handcuff chapter, so it was relatively short. So
yes. Yes. I think the first time it happened to you, we consoled you by watching just extra trashy TV that night. And then when you were at my house, I just let you just listen to it on my computer. And then I think I went took a shower and stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Okay, Ryota, the most villainous character in the story alongside Utai. The reason I remembered his scene with Sakura is because I'm concerned that Sakura hasn't kept her end of the bargain, which is understandable. It's sort of mentioned in New Trials how dangerous it can be to not keep a magical deal. For example, the twins with the Dark Ones and Kara with Ariel. In their interaction, Sakura noted that the necklace had like a black cloud around it. It's concerning because Ryota sealed his blood in it. And we know how powerful and dangerous it can be to seal magical blood with a magical object. I don't think we've seen the end of him, but like Melanie said, we will get back to this when we reach that chapter. Ooh, chilling.
Although I will say, I think Sakura, I know we'll get there eventually, but I think Sakura did keep her bargain because if I remember correctly, he wanted her to talk to Eron about things. And I think Sakura did. And then she was surprised with how much Eron knew, I think.
I'm so fuzzy with that. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Back to this chapter. Sakura's great-grandfather's name is Masaki, who I believe could be Hayashi's grandson. I believe he and Sonomi would have younger Nadeshiko's photos, since Wish-chan has Nadeshiko live with her grandfather because her parents passed away in a car accident. Oh, okay. 5-4 scroll. I was so ecstatic when we reached this point. This little bit is such a great world building from Wish-chan's part, because as a kid, I always wondered how the Clove book got there. Yes, it could be explained by magic, because Clove Read leaves nothing to chance. But what would be the fun in that? And I highly doubt Fujitaka would find the book in an archaeological dig and take it home. My memory might be fuzzy, but I think in the later chapters, the scroll is used not so much as a means to find the Clove cards, but as a list of the forces to release the seal, or to release and seal. I don't even remember if it was the G5 who created it, or if Ryuichi was the one who created it, and then passed it down to his son, and then lost it to Clove. Wow, that's a lot to unpack with the 5-4 scroll. I agree with Diana. One of my friends, she used to be an archaeologist, and you can't take that stuff home.
I don't know. Fujata looks real sketchy citizen,
The first time I read this chapter, I didn't think much about the ancient magicians of the 5 powers. I only thought it was a cool reference to Clove's parents' backstory in CCS. We briefly see them as cloaked figures who, when Kiro tells Sakura that Clove's mother was from the Lee clan and that his father was from England. Little did younger me know how fascinated I would be by those crazy individuals. That part of her comment makes me melt, because for something to have been so foreshadowed, like lightly foreshadowed so long ago, and see how far this Jen has taken us.
Yes. So next up, we have chapter 6, and Diana said, I'm living for these sound effects. The amount of love and energy you put into these chapters is amazing. If she were real, Tomeo would be very proud. Ryurin and Mooney-chan finally joined the story, and a tiny hint of the Great Five, chef's kiss. Ryurin is a character I grew to appreciate and love as the story progressed, maybe because of his sacrifice and tragedy. However, I can safely say that he was not my favorite when I first started reading NT. I was booing him and rooting for Nadesco during the fight. Lastly, I totally forgot that the twins have bracelets. I'm so used to their necklaces and earrings. They have so many accessories. I just got the image of them having a lot of bling and being into bedazzled.
I already forgot about the bracelets.
I did too. I was like, what bracelet is she talking about?
I don't know. They're never in any fan art, so I don't know. Or like, what bracelet did you read about, Melanie?
Guess I'll have to re-listen to that chapter at work tomorrow and see if I can figure it out.
Yeah, but Era and Erica, all about, like, you know, even me, like, I know about the earrings because it's like a 5-force treasure. I would forget about the necklace. But bracelets? Oh, this was funny. Thanks, Diana, for reminding us.
Maybe she mentions it in her podcast comment too, maybe.
I don't think so. Okay, time for the podcast comments. Another fun podcast episode. I learned so much from this one. Family trees. It's always cool to learn about others' genealogy. I'm the type of person who generally likes to sit down and learn about previous generations and their journeys, dreams, trials, and triumphs. I like the mini history lesson about Guyana. I love learning about different countries. Oh, you're welcome, Diana. Name pronunciations. My mind was completely blown regarding Nikkei. I always thought that it would be pronounced the same way as you two. No wonder some people in the story couldn't have placed the 2 and 2 together.
Exactly.
Mokona. Hold on. I don't. Mokona. How do you pronounce Mokona?
Makona?
Yeah, Makona. Let's say Makona. I knew Makona from Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles and XXX Holic. That's true. Makona does make a cameo, like appearance there. I read those in 2010 and 2011. I didn't know about Magic Knight Rayearth until way later. I was happy when I found the volumes available at the local library. It's easy for me to separate TRC and New Trials because even though I read them during the same summer, I had created my own schedule for reading and watching anime. Tsubasa might have been the start of my love for multiverses and crazy/unhinged plots. Oh, you got a Tsubasa reader among us. Cool. I wasn't able to get past the first 2 chapters. It was just too it's not CCS for me.
Same.
You know what? Even at that point, it's like, nah, New Trials is better. I do agree that Wish-chan might have done some tweaking for plot purposes. For a long time, I thought the third voice was either Mayura, because of the painting in their apartment, or Reiji. I don't know why. I'm happier knowing it was Moonstone. The Great Five. I totally forgot how early in the story we get hints on them. I absolutely love how Wish-chan was able to look at Chloe, who was notorious in Clamverse for being so mysterious, and use him for world building. Yes, Wish-chan's development of the Great Five, and especially when we get to Arc 3, when like Sharon describes the back of the Sakura card, and it's like you see how the star has 5 points, well that's the Great Five, and you see how there's like 12 points, and that's your alliance. So Wish-chan really goes deep.
Which, that's why we love her, that's why we support her, that's why there's a podcast.
Exactly. She ends off with, thanks for sharing. Looking forward to the next one.
So the next up, we have chapter 7, the sound effects, the music. I never thought I would ever hear the New Trials famous melody. This is like a dream come true. Honestly, I never thought much about the music teachers in New Trials other than Leon, but you somehow managed to make me enjoy this music teacher. You know, out of all the time Nadesco and Ryuren meet, the only one I ever seem to truly remember is this one. Maybe because I consider her meeting with Fujata the better of the two. LOL. Anyway, I like how Nadesco meets her first love and her husband in a similar manner. And oh my God, we get some foreshadow on Leon. And did we see Miara in the flashback? Also, getting way ahead of myself, but when Ryurin says he doesn't plan to kill Nadesco yet, I totally got flashbacks to when Leon says something similar to Tomeo about amputating her leg. Is it bad that when Mei Lin said that Shaodong was going through another change, I automatically said he's going through puberty?
I love that.
And thank you for giving me such glowing reviews about the music and how much effort I put into it. I really appreciate it because it really does take me forever to read the chapter and then do the sound effects. So yeah, I really appreciate that so much.
Yeah, that's the Melody of Loneliness chapter. And like, I still remember how blown away I was when the music came on and then it turned into a duet. Oh my gosh, my mind was blown. It was
That was the
really,
hardest.
it was a
That was,
really special chapter.
that was the hardest secret for me to keep from you because I literally tell you everything and it took everything in me not to tell you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Melody of the melody of I'm saying melody of loneliness. The melody of loneliness is definitely an obvious gem in your audiobook, for sure, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
All alone.
We have
Melanie
to
is
pause for a
all
second because I accidentally closed the tab. Now I'm opening the tab. And now
opening the
future
tab.
Melanie can, okay, there we go. Okay, so now to read her comment under the podcast episode. It's pretty cool that you two had musical backgrounds. I always wanted to have some sort of musical ability. I took guitar lessons for a brief while, but I have no rhythm whatsoever. I can't consciously follow a beat. Sharon climbing the window was so 90s. As a kid, I thought it was such a cool thing to do. Unfortunately, or rather fortunately, in the Dominican Republic, all the houses I knew didn't allow for such a thing because they have bars and people don't want burglars to come in. However, I can share a fun story about me sneaking by security. People always think that I'm younger than my age, to the point where I've been told multiple times that I could do 21 Jump Streets should I want to. Anyway, I was able to sneak past my old high school in the US as a college student. A teacher and some of my old classmates invited me to watch a comedy and eat some food. And I also did the same as a substitute teacher. Security thought I was a middle school student, so they didn't bother with my ID, but I went to the main office anyway. Wow. Diana, that's a flex. That's a flex.
100%.
I would love to see you in 21 Jump Streets.
You must be so cute and tiny.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. Sneak past my old high school in the US as a college student. And I do the same as a substitute teacher. Oh. Leon. I also forgot how early he was mentioned. It makes me wonder how long Liz Chen had to wait to bring him into the story, or what made her come up with such a character. Zodiac signs. Yay! It's pretty cool to know your signs. I've always gotten along really well with air signs, and two of my loved ones are earth signs. I'm an Aries, by the way.
Nice.
Thank you for sharing. Take care. Until next time.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Fun. Very fun. It just blows my mind how I always thought Aquarius was water because of aqua. But no, Aquarius is air.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, and I always just assume Scorpio is fire, but Scorpio is an earth sign, I'm pretty sure. But anywho.
Okay, moving on to chapter 8, The Angel of Hallow Eve. Take it away, Melanie.
All right. Yay, a Halloween chapter. I absolutely love Halloween. I was surprised that Tomeo made Sakura wear the same costume, although I can see why she would have Sakura dress as an angel. I know I should feel bad about Sakura being so distressed regarding the ghost, but I found her so cute during this whole Halloween event. Oh my God, I had totally forgotten about Sakura misusing her powers. And I had also forgotten the bunny doll that Edon got for Sakura. Is it even brought up again? On the positive side, I was happy about the training scene. Funny that Malin dresses a cat because in CCS Clear Card, the anime, she was turning into a cat. LOL. I'm telling you, Clamp has read New Trial.
I remember that.
I don't.
That. If you go to Wish Chan's blog, she blogs about all of the episodes of Clear Card. And in practically every one, she will find every single connection between New Trials and Clear Card, which is wonderful.
We said that many times before that Clamp is 100%, they 100% know what New Trials is.
That'd be nice. Okay, time for a podcast review. I love Halloween. It is such a fun time, even if I avoid the scary stuff. Do you think Wish Chan will give us another Halloween special before New Trials finishes? Okay, let's talk about this. Right now we're in July, as we've been for the last few years. August, September, October. Timeline-wise, it's not unrealistic. Story-wise, I think it's gonna have to really depend on where the story goes. And to think that the last Halloween chapter was like such a ritzy masquerade, if I was Wish Chan, I wouldn't know how to top myself after that.
My only thought is because when the whole thing with the Great Five went down, it was during the fall, I believe. So I think the big dramatic climax, in my opinion, is going to take place during this upcoming fall in the story. And then I think there'll be like a thing where there's going to be like a time jump of some sort. And when we see the cast next, it'll be like in the spring with the cherry blossoms and stuff like that. So I think sometime before the finale, there might be like another Halloween type episode. But kind of like we talked about when we first talked about this chapter, you know, there was that masquerade ball and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see.
I would think Toya was up so early because of a part-time job. I remember how in CCS he, a high schooler, basically had jobs everywhere. So it could be possible that he still does a few jobs to college students. I want to headcanon that he worked at the bakery so that he can give Yukito some fresh bread. Ooh, that's cute. I know that in CCS, it's like the backstory of Toya and all of his jobs was just so that he like scouts where Sakura is going to be, and then he gets a job there so that he can keep an eye on her. But yeah, no, for sure. Toya's always been a hustler. Sharon's costume. I never thought of his costume as foreshadow. I have to agree with Preya. I always assumed it was just to match Sakura. I don't think it was a foreshadow to Kai since he was the product of writer's block. What I'd be curious to know is when this block happened and whether he was created before or after Miho. Ooh, that's a fun question.
Which I think Wish Chan sort of answered in her Q&A that she said, I must have had some type of knowledge of him because it was mentioned, you know, when we meet Miho,
Yeah.
she mentions her brother and stuff. So,
The Haunting. I don't remember when the card shows up again, but I want to say it's during the Phantom and or the haunted house. That's possible. Card captors. I cracked up at Melanie's dubbed Sharon and Kira's voices. I never watched the anime, but I did watch the first movie one time in English. I was surprised at how edited it was. Girl. I think like, to be fair, it's because it was so edited, that was the gateway of all of us. It's like, no, there's gotta be more.
Yes. Yes. Whereas, a Sailor Moon, they edited that a little bit too, but not to the degree that they edited CCS.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I'm moving on to chapter 9, Ticket to Winter Rhapsody. Take it away, Melanie.
So we got another great chapter. Good job. I love your way. He was so in character. I really enjoyed how you portrayed the Cardcaptor Sakura film scene. I can only imagine how you'll act out the New York saga. Really looking forward to your take on Miho and Iro. I wonder how Tomeo edited all 70 episodes of CCS into a 90, 120-minute movie. If New Trials is set in today's world, do you think Tomeo would post all of the CCS and NT adventures on YouTube?
Yes, yes. But the thing is, though, knowing Tomeo, I think she'd be too smart for that, because the way that it works is that if you put your films on YouTube, they can't be submitted to film festivals. So I think Tomeo would be savvy enough to go the film festival route.
I think she would use TikTok for her like fashion and stuff like that. And then I think her like film and stuff, she would go like the more fancy route, like you said, Preya. I agree.
But I can see her do like, behind the scenes, getting a following, etc. on YouTube. But yeah, but I've known some artists, and it's really strict. It's like their films can't go on YouTube. It can't be public. It's very strict guidelines. So yeah. So I think that's what Tomoya would do. Okay, time for the podcast comments. I'm too shy and camera shy to record myself doing anything or saying anything. However, I've been thinking of going out of my comfort zone in that regard. Ooh, well, Diana, you have Melanie and me rooting you on.
Yes.
Dances. I didn't go to any of my school dances. I've never been one to dance. I'm too self-conscious and shy, and we don't have prom in the Dominican Republic. We do have a lot of parties, though. When I moved to the US, it was on the last 2 years of high school, and I really didn't feel too connected to anyone to go to an overpriced dance party by myself. My mother tried to convince me to go to prom, but I told her I'd rather travel abroad as a graduation gift. Prom was so expensive that traveling abroad for a week ended up being cheaper. Dang, girl. I don't regret my decision. That's an
holy
moly. Think of like the dress and the limo or driving there and the dinner. Yeah, it adds up. It adds up.
I was such a princess. I made my date pay forever.
That's the way to do it. For new trials, there are parties, but no school dances. The closest we get to a school dance is the bonfire dances during the school festivals in Arc 4. Yes, that's very true. Movie. I also agree that the safer option would have been to invite Chiharu and Takashi. I understand why Wish-chan decided against it. I also wondered about the movie length and its details. I hadn't thought about it being like Titanic, though. That would be really funny. I think that's the beauty of the fanfic. It's like you can put all the details and just not worry about runtime.
Yes, yes.
New Trials Revisited. I love your blog. I would read every update the same day. I'm still rereading and will definitely be posting my thoughts in detail there as well. Yes, Diana, I love your comments.
What a gem.
Thanks for sharing. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. New Trials Revisited. It's like, I know I put the big old pause button on it, but I'm only going to pick it back up again once Wish Chan starts to update, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to do my summaries, and then I don't want to trick people in thinking that she updated when she didn't. So with time, I'm almost there. I think I got 70 chapters down. Okay, and we end with chapter 10, Icy Barriers.
This is another favorite chapter in Arc 1. Sure, Sharon is out here being like, I'm over Sakura. Yeah, right. But I love, 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 love the action and drama. The whole scene where Sakura is under the ice has been ingrained in my mind since the first time I read the chapter. I felt like the stakes were so high. I also love the conversation between Sharon and Tomeo. Tomeo was so mature, and I know that Sharon respects her, even if he's being immature here. Their friendship is one of my favorites. Eran could never, LOL. Lastly, the foreshadow. Thank you for sharing.
There really is something to be said about Sharon and Tomoyo's friendship, because we don't really see Sharon talking to a lot of girls, but he really respects Tomoyo.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. And it's one I've never really put much thought into, but yeah, just the way he's just so comfortable talking to her about things. And yeah, he really does respect that girl.
And I think, like, other way around, a lot of girls might be intimidated by Sharon, not want to talk to him, but Tomoyo knew him since he was 10. He's got nothing to hide.
Yeah, and they're both kind of like those type of people that on the outside they have like this icy barrier, and but then once you get to know them, they're really like warm, kind-hearted people. So I think she kind of understands him even from that aspect too. And then kind of vice versa. He understands that about her. So I feel like they're kind of almost like the same person. So I think that's why they're able to kind of click the way they can.
Okay, and we close off with Diana's podcast comment for chapter 10. Another podcast episode. First, lol at inspiration from Clue. You're too funny. And before we got on this call, I'm like, Melanie, what did we do with Clue again? And she had to jog my memory. Second, I'm so glad you caught the foreshadow. My eyes popped out when I heard that. Wish Chen might have not had Arc 4 planned, but this bit of foreshadows at the end of Arc 3, so maybe she knew how the story would go. Just when you think you've got Wish Chen figured out, she surprised you even more. Who knows what other small foreshadows are spread throughout Arc 1 that will come back to us in Arc 4. Fun. Ice skating. I've tried it twice, and the second time was a fun disaster. I tried rollerblading as a kid because I really wanted to be like Sakura, and I fell so bad that I almost broke a bone. The area was so bruised that I couldn't move. Oof. I feel your pain, Diana.
Someone that broke their foot recently, it is not fun.
I think 13-year-old was impressed at the crew's quick thinking over warming up Sakura, that I was completely blind to the fact that they shouldn't have left her fall unconscious. If anything, I was like, now I know what to do if anyone falls into icy water. Which is funny because the Dominican Republic never gets cold since it's in the Caribbean. I'm so used to the anime and fanfic logic that going to a hospital never crossed my mind. This shouldn't be a problem in Arc 4, though. I could just see this as like, okay, I'm going to put my medical hat on, and if that isn't being Melanie... You don't have to apologize. You're being very informative.
That's good. Okay, well, I won't hold back anymore then.
Sharon is such a butt in these earlier chapters, but as a 13-year-old, I was happy that he brought up such a realistic view regarding relationships. I was so used to stories about people being together with one person who they somehow all knew since they were young. Cough, Boy Meets World, cough, cough. I'm entering that. And how serious it was how they would marry and live happily ever after. I knew that they were fictional, but at that age, most people are having their first relationships, and you kind of get the feeling that maybe your classmate will be together for a long haul, because that's how in love they are, and it made me feel a bit left out. So Sharon saying what he said made me feel, in a strange way, a bit better, even if he was saying it out of as a coward. Yeah, that's really weird, because it's like, even me, I was probably in the first grade when I started having crushes on people, but I didn't start dating until I was like late teens. So I totally know the feeling of liking people and then just like imagining a whole relationship in your head, but then finding out that they don't like you back, and then it just prolongs it later, and you see other people coupling up, and you just get so like, ugh. So I know where you're coming from, Diana. Anyway, I enjoyed this conversation with Tomoyo. I love whenever they interact. In fact, as painful the conversation is to the characters, I believe this might have been the first time I was invested in Wish-chan's take on their friendship. I'm glad it's been developed as the series progressed. Lastly, the game sounds so fun. I was away from the Facebook group for so long that I missed this. I'm looking forward to reading what other people might have shared. Thank you for sharing. Take care.
I forgot what game it was for a second, but then I remembered.
Yeah. It was like one of those question and answers, and then Wish-chan, she answered like a whole bunch as the characters. I think that's the one that
yes.
That we're referring to. And actually, I think that was still in the New Trials groups, the Yahoo group days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Diana, yeah. I'll message you. I know that I've isolated Wish-chan's answers on my New Trials fan site. I'm going to send you a link to that. All right. So those have been the first 10, chapters 4 to 10 of Diana's amazing comments on the audiobook and podcast. Melanie and I, we have no words to explain how happy these comments make us. And this running conversation that you're having with us, Diana, you really do feel like the third host of this podcast.
For sure. And not to leave out our other Alliance members, we will highlight your other comments and the Instagram comments and stuff we have been getting. So no worries there, but we just wanted to give a special appreciation episode to Diana because we really appreciate the time and effort she took to type out these books to us. We love her and adore her.
So you've been listening to New Trials, the podcast, where it must rain for there to be a rainbow.
You've been listening to New Trials, the podcast. Please be sure to check out the audiobook version of this fan fiction anywhere that you can find this podcast. Also, please be sure to check out the Facebook fan page for New Trials, where a big part of our discussions happen nowadays. And also, please be sure to type us an entire novel comment section, because then you might also get a special chapter devoted to you. I say that with love. I say that with so much love. And please be sure to stick around next week where we discuss Chapter 30, The Lone Thief of the Night.